Good morning and welcome to the stream. My name is Yannick, I'm the French guy from Switzerland. And if you're watching this on YouTube or any other platform, this has been recorded on the 17th of October and it was streamed live on Twitch. We're going to improve simple childcare, my application that I'm building to help a one-person childcare business. So watch the previous streams if you want to know what this is all about and how we got there. And today we have some new features to implement, but also I have noticed a bug. I have just noticed a bug preparing this stream, so we're gonna have to fix this bug. So what's the bug? Well, here we have a child in the system, and there are some entries in the timesheet for that child. But if we delete this child and then create another child, which we're going to call Bob, because why not? And the only thing that's mandatory is this. Is it a preschool? Is the child preschool or at kindergarten? And then we click on Bob and ta-da! Here we have the same entries. So first, it means that either I might not have linked the entries to the child, but also I might have forgotten to delete the entries. So we're gonna have a look at what's going on here. Let's close a few things in here, and we're going to go to the pages, and that's going to be the entries pages. So how are those entries loaded from the database? We're going to see. Okay, we have the app bar. There we go. So when we arrive in this widget, on this page, we are reading the entry model and we are loading for that ID. Okay, so probably the ID is reused. Let's check that. So I have the first one has 2 entries. Okay, let's go back here and recreate Alice. And then save. Alice doesn't have any entry. Bob has entry. Bob is probably number 1. Alice ID 1. Alice is probably ID 2. Now if I delete Bob, Alice doesn't have any entries. And now if I recreate Carol doesn't have any entry, but if I remove both and create David, then David has the entry. So the IDs are reused, I guess. The database is giving me the IDs, and so it's SQLite. I think it gives me the lowest ID plus 1, the highest ID plus 1, and so when there's no records in the database, it will give me 1 as the ID. That's what I think. Anyway, let's have a look. I wanted to add a logger to. Well, I'll do that later. Let's print folder .id and see what we get when we load that. We get nothing because my app is not actually running. That's the old version of the app that I have in the emulator. So let's bring the new version on the emulator and see what we get. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. You can do that. Come on. There we go. It's gonna load the new version of the app. Okay, so David is number 1. Yes. /Flutter. Because we don't want any other logs. So we got ID 1. Okay, so that's the problem. Well, no, that's not the problem. The problem is that when I delete that, I should delete the timesheet that is associated with that. So that's probably in the home page. I'm gonna have to refactor that at some point because it doesn't choose the model. It doesn't choose a model. It does things like, you know, mixing logic and presentation, which is not good. Where's the delete thingy? It's probably not there. It's on the folder tile, and it probably has a menu somewhere. Trailing folder menu button, F12, it's here. And when we go to delete, then we ask for the confirmation, and then we delete that. Well, we're gonna do more than that, I'm guessing. Oh. Then. Yeah, we don't need to return anything, so we can do that. Then with the database. Yeah. We delete that, then we need to delete from the entry table where what? That's when we need to go to our utilities and see how the database was created, and that's folder ID. So we need to delete where folder ID equals and with where args is data of index.id. And while I'm here, I'm going to do the same thing here. And that's because that's how it's supposed to be done. Except... Come on. What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? That's how it was, and that's not how it should be. Okay, where args should be that. And that should be question mark. There we go. Now we did the folder and the entries, and we should not have any problems. So let's check. Okay, we've got entries. Sorry, and now I'm going to delete that. Okay, and recreate one. Save, and we still have file number 1, but we don't have any entries anymore. Great, I can remove this print here. Okay, so that's fixed, and that's great. Okay, what do we have on our list of things we want to add. We need to implement the app settings. So there's a little bit of that is already in the app, which is that. So those are the different prices that are going to be applied. The hourly rate Monday to Friday, hourly rate from Saturday and Sunday, lunch for preschool kids, lunch for kindergarten kids, dinner, which is probably the same price, but who knows? And then the price for the overnight stay. Okay. So that's all there is. There's nothing, there's no logic, there's no control, there's nothing in there. Maybe, no, there's no control at all. Okay, so let's have a look at our settings page. The settings page is doing this, and we have a settings form. Let's go in our forms. The settings forms is there. Okay, so we have a text form field with decoration, but absolutely no unsave and no validation whatsoever. So let's start with the validation. So that's probably here. Validator, yes, validator value. We need this value to not be empty or null. Can it be null? It can be null, so we want this to be not null and not empty. If value equals null or value is empty, return context.t. No, I didn't do context.t on this project. I did the opposite. I'm going to be lazy. This value cannot be empty. That's t context. I'm going to be lazy because I'm not going to name the field, so I can reuse that message everywhere. Oop, I forgot validator. Alright, so validator. This validator is going to be used also for this one. So let's put that here. This one also. And this one also. And this one also. And this one also. And this one. Because why not? Now, the button. The button needs to validate the form. And we're going to get another form and copy and paste whatever has been there. Because I don't want to reinvent anything. If I can do that. Okay, form key current state. What does it mean? The getter current is not defined for key. That's because form key is a global key and not a global key of form state. Which it should be. Come on, there's a fly on my webcam. What? Yes, well. What is wrong with that? Form key should be... Oh. Well, thank you for the follow. Unicerino. Welcome to the stream. Feel free to ask any questions if you have any about the project or about what we're doing here. So let's do just that. form, we don't need to define the type, of course. I had forgotten about that. So form key, current state, if the state, if the form is not valid, if the form is valid, then save the form, and then, well, we're gonna have to figure out later on what we do with that. Figure out what to do with this page. Probably gonna be saved in the database. Okay. Oh, okay. It's automatic space. Right. So now we go back to the app and we save that. We should have error messages everywhere. Good. Now, this is a stateless widget. We probably don't need to have a stateful form for that. However, we are going to need an object to store our settings. So let's go to our models and create a settings dot, and we're going to create a class settings. And well, we're going to have a look at our form, and we have 1, 2 hourly rate, and those are gonna probably be double. So double hourly rate, week. Week rate, yeah, well. Then hourly weekend rate, right? What's wrong with that? It's not initialized. Yes, that's what's wrong with that. We're gonna create a constructor, so that's not a problem. Or is it? Yes, it's gonna be a problem. So we're gonna give that a default value of 0. So what else do we have? Oh, un français ou un francophone. Hello. Est-ce que j'ai testé Tab 9 extension? Non. Ah bah j'ai réessayé ça. Tab 9 extension. What else do we have? What else do we need? Lunch, preschool, and dinner, preschool, and kindergarten. So that's gonna be doubles too. Lunch, preschool. That's gonna be 0 by default. Lunch. And that's gonna be 0 by default too. Ah non, je vais pas essayer maintenant. Je vais essayer tranquillement quand j'aurai le temps de faire ça. Dinner, preschool, and dinner, kindergarten. Dinner, preschool equals 0. And dinner, kindergarten equals 0.0. And double night. Overnight. Yeah. I'll refactor that later. Hello, Agdir. Welcome back to the stream. How are you, my friend? Okay, I've got that. Now I need to go to the entry form. I need to define a final. It can't be final, can it? It probably can't be final. Settings equals settings. Settings. Okay. And we need to implement the unsaves. So the unsaves are in the correct form. That would be more useful. of course. So not this one. This one. Import settings. There you go. And then unsaved value. And value can be null. It can't be null because there's the validator, so we know it's not going to be null. And so can we do something like settings dot hourly week rate equals value, but it's an int, so we need to convert string to int. Int dot parse value. Okay, it's not happy because a value of type int can't be assigned to a variable of type double. Yeah, because I'm stupid. I am fine too, thank you, Egdir. I've been working on lots of stuff this week, and I thought, you know, I could chill out on a Sunday morning and implement some stuff that I am a little bit behind on this application. So I am implementing the settings for my app. So we're gonna save those values. Let's just go back to the form here. We're gonna save the prices for hourly rate during the week, during the weekend, price for the lunch if the kids have lunch or dinner, and that depends on them being preschool or in kindergarten, and then the price for the night if they stay overnight. And then we need to save that, and then we're gonna have to apply that to the computations that I've already made. Yes, Punicher, you know, I can explain what the app does. So this app is going to be targeted at people, well, at one-person business of childcare. Come on, flies, go away. So, yes, so someone who's looking after children either, you know, the whole day because they're preschool and so they don't go to school and the parents have to go to, I don't know, to work probably, which is the most logical use case, and someone is looking after their child, and so they need to keep track of how many hours they had the child, and if they had lunch or dinner, and if they stayed overnight, because that can happen. And so it's very simple in that the thing is, I have a client, a friend that does this thing, and they need to do just that, keep track of their hours and be able to create invoices at the end of the month and have some kind of document at the end of the year for the tax. Kindergarten, yes, but it's an English word. C'est parascolaire en français. So here we have the list of children, and you can add, as you've already seen me do, you can add children in here. And so there's the first name, last name, birth date, preschool, kindergarten, allergies, parents, phone number, and stuff like that. And then you can add as many children as you want. And then by clicking or tapping on the name or using the menu here, you can go to the timesheet. And here you can say, okay, on this day, so let's say 1st of October, they stayed for 4 hours and 45 minutes and they had dinner. And then it will appear here and so on. Every single day you can track the hours. Alors, c'est peut-être périscolaire en français. En Suisse, c'est parascolaire. Mais ça dépend un peu. And then, yes, and so at the end of the month, you can go over here and edit your invoices. Obviously, that's not implemented yet. And then at the end of the year, you will be able to have a complete listing of what kind of money you made, and that will help for the income taxes. That unfortunately we all have to pay our income taxes. That helps for lots of infrastructure and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the app in a nutshell. I'm using a SQLite database on the device to store everything. And I'm also using, if we go to save and backup and restore, this is to get connected to Firebase. And let me do something real quick. There we go. Oopsie. So this is to get connected to Firebase database to store and retrieve a backup of the data. So for example, if you change phone, you could save that from the first phone and then restore that on the other phone. Then you need to log in, so you need to create an account on the database, and I'm using Firebase Auth for that. At some point, I might, because if you want to connect here, you need email and password, I might implement the Google authentication and iOS or Apple authentication, but it's a pain in the backside because implementing Google Auth is easy. Well, easy-ish. But if you do that, then your app is going to be rejected from the Apple Store because they don't want an app that provides Google Auth if it doesn't provide Apple Auth too. But then to have Apple Auth work on Android, it's complicated. So that's why I didn't do that just yet. I might be doing that later. Right, okay, let's go back to our settings. We have the settings, now we need to save that, okay. So that works because what is final is settings and not hourly week rate. So settings is final, it's not gonna move. This object is created and it will stay there forever. We need to save the thing here. That's the weekend rate. Okay. We need to save this. Oopsie. What did I do? We need to save that here, and that is lunch for preschool. We also need this here for kindergarten. And here for dinner preschool, just in case it's not the same price. Here for dinner kindergarten. Basically, the idea behind that is that older child probably eats more than a young child, but that's not always the case. My own daughter doesn't eat that much. That's the overnight something. Yes, I called it overnight because I don't know how to call it, but hey, we'll see. Yes, Punicherino, I think it's gonna be useful. And I haven't seen a lot of simple apps like that. I've seen apps more complex that do more stuff that are not necessarily useful in all cases. But my goal is not to get rich with that anyway, but just to have an app on the app stores for my friend who needs that. So there we go. Okay, so I haven't changed anything except that now unsaved I have all that. So let's see if it's actually filled. And we're going to inspect settings. And inspect needs to be imported. There we go. So you can see here in the console my debug traces, and I have some untranslated text. Okay, so now if I validate that, well, I can't validate because I haven't put any prices in there. So let's put some random prices and save and inspect that variable. Why can't I inspect that? Oh yes, I can. It's just that I need to scroll. Well, we do have our prices. Awesome. Awesome. So now we need to store that in the database. That's gonna be a problem. Because I don't have a table for that. And how do I store that? Do I make one multiple columns with one row? Or do I make just 2 columns, key value, and then store that as a string? Well, I would naturally go for the first one. Yes, one row with multiple columns. But that means if I add a settings later on, I need to fix the database, which means I need to take care of updates. And if I publish a new version with a new settings, then I need to check if the application is using version N and then upgrade to N+1, which is doable. But I don't know, I think I have a feeling for settings, for those settings, it also makes sense to have one table with a key and with 2 columns, key and value, and then let the app decide which setting it wants to save and in what format. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. Let's go to our database util, and we're going to create another table. We're still in tests, so we're still on test flight on iOS and in invite only on Android. So I don't mind telling my testers, hey, here's a new update, delete your database and do it all over again, because actually that's what they should be doing. They should be testing. So by recreating stuff, they're doing non-regression tests. Create table settings. This table is gonna have a what? Doesn't need an ID integer as its primary key. It's gonna need a string, so text, a text. That's gonna be the key, text primary key, and then value text. Should probably enforce not null, but okay. So we have this. We are going to create this table. Okay, and now that we have this, we're gonna do we're going to do database utils dot get database. Then with the database, we're going to do database dot save or update. We don't have a save or update. That's interesting. Because if I save settings, then I should be updating if it exists. That is more complex than expected. That is more complex, except right now I only have one place where I store the settings, so I could delete everything and recreate the settings each time. So we want to delete from table settings. Then, and what does then gives me? That gives me the runner. Okay, I don't care about rows. Then, once everything is deleted, I need to... I'm going to do something else. I'm going to get the database, and then I'm going to delegate the work to my settings. Settings.save. And I'm going to pass the database. And I'm going to create that function. And it takes a database. Great. Awesome. I'm going to be delete. Oh, I can do that. I'm going to make that an async, and I'm going to await. That's gonna be a lot easier. And I'm going to delete from settings. Okay. And now I'm going to await db.insert settings. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Insert. I just don't remember how to do an insert. Fortunately, I have done that many times. So that's how you do that. Oh, yeah, that's a map of string to... What? Insert table values. Okay, so that insert that. So a map. So my map will be key. In key, key hourly week rate and value. Why do I use sometimes double quotes and sometimes single quotes? And value is gonna be that. And then we do the same for all of our keys. And that should do it. Except those should be strings. Hello, Siomesta21. What is that cow icon in the taskbar? A cow icon. A cow. Oh, here. That is the icon for my Jack and Calf Jack host. Calf is a software that is provided by, I think it's Ubuntu Studio, or maybe it's maybe one of the those other multimedia dedicated Ubuntu flavors. And I use that icon because it starts my Jack setup. So it starts Jack, it starts Katia, it starts Calf, and it connects everything. So some sound software, yes. And what am I doing? I am working on an application for phone that is going to be used for people to, but for one person. It is targeted as at one person childcare business. So one person looking after children during the day or after school. They need to keep track of how many hours and how many lunch the kids had with them, and so they can edit invoices and do their income tax declaration at the end of the year. Okay, so we were going to save that. I want to save that as string. Do I want to save that as string as fixed? Well, probably. You know, it doesn't hurt to have a properly formatted string in the database. So that's gonna help us save this in the database. We probably want to read that at some point. But first, I'm going to restart the app and delete the database. And go there. Nope, not here. Go to the settings and delete the database. Yes. And now, no more children. Now I need to, let's move the thing here. Let's create another one. And well, we didn't have to do that, did we? And let's do that and save. And that didn't work. So what went wrong? Error. Another exception, database exception, not such table settings. What? Why? Why? I am very disappointed. This should have worked like straight from the get-go. Because we all know that software always works on the first try. Okay, let's stop and restart the app. Sometimes it doesn't go through everything, even with a hot restart. So let's try that again. Oh, it's already there. Ooh, it's hidden. What's it doing? Ah, it's building. Okay. There we go. Did we stop in our create database? No. So let's delete. And now we're here. Now we're creating this, and then we're creating this, and then do I have an error in there? I don't. Oh, I've seen a wrap database exception. There might have been a problem. Well, we'll see about that. Let's clear this log and then try again. But I have a feeling I have a database error at the creation. Yes, probably. So await db. So we're going to try. I said try. There we go. Try. Await that, and then catch e. Print or inspect e. Hello, Elon Dark. I look like a scientist. Do I? Well, I am. I don't know. What do you? How do you define scientist? Oh, it's Mondark. Okay. It's a weird M you've got there. But hello and welcome to the stream, Mondark. How do you define a scientist? I didn't know scientists had a look. Let's try that again. Delete the database and see. Well, I guess we should put a breakpoint here. and remove this one and move on. And no, we didn't have any exception. One who finds the truth. Well, I try to find my truth. So, in that regard, I might be called a scientist, but I am not doing sciencey things as in a lab or something. No, I'm not. So, why create table settings? Oh, is that a reserved word? So that's an abstract class. Can I see the find all implementations? There we go. Let's try and put a breakpoint in here and see if that helps. Where are we? We're here? Okay. So we're going to execute that. So that's not the one I want. That is not the one. What? What's that? Okay. What's that? Not the one I want. What's that? That's the one I want. Create table settings. Key text primary key value text. Okay. Step over that. And then step into that. See if that creates a problem. That's unfortunate. Let's see if we can go run to cursor. Is there something like that? Yes, there is. Return invoke execute. Yes, please, invoke execute. And yes, please invoke whatever you need to invoke. Get database method argument in transaction. Okay. I don't see any error in there. Okay. No, it did return the result. So it did create the database. Where were we? Let me bring that here. You know, a special someone told me religious devotees and scientists are similar but differ in aim. He told me religious people are really the smartest people on the planet, like scientists. To say you're a French guy would be meaningless in a French country. So I'm sure you travel a lot. I do. I'm also not living in France, so. Let's see what else could be wrong. No such table settings. Well, I don't agree with that. The table does exist. If someone offered me 100k an hour for a job, would you take it? Probably not. Because it's too good to be true. Or it's illegal. Or both. Await db.execute. What is going on here? Is key a... Key could be a reserved word. So let's call that settings key? Setting? Let's call that setting. Let's call that setting, and then in the settings form, well, not in the settings, in the settings, let's save that. Let's change key to setting. Okay, let's there, delete database. Okay, I don't want this breakpoint anymore. I don't want this breakpoint anymore. Database has been removed, deleted. Clear this thing and save. Nope. Table settings does not exist. Well. Create the table settings. Create table settings. What? I had no problem doing anything else. Why is this one not working? Okay, let's call that parameters. Let's call that parameter. And let's call that value. P-value. So none of those are reserved words, right? Oh, maybe we can't have a primary key that is a text. I don't know. Let's remove that too. We have a table name that is not reserved, column names that are not reserved, and we don't have any special columns. Thank you for the follow. Ooh, we are 1 follower short of our current goal. Awesome. Hello SM94. Welcome to the stream. Create table parameters. So none of this is reserved, right? I'm not dreaming. None of this is reserved in any way. So let's. Oh, I am stupid. Okay. I am stupid. 1, 2, 3 T's. That's 1 T too many. And it's been written here. It's been under my nose since the beginning and I haven't seen that. Sorry about that. Let's try again with key and value. See if that gives us anything. Because apparently there's no exception when the table is created, so key should be a valid column name. Any experience with React Firebase? No, I can't say I have any experience. I have very little experience with React. I've done some minor stuff at work with React, but not really, not a lot really. And Firebase, I'm just using Firebase with Flutter, and I have started using Firebase last week, so I don't know much about that yet. But hopefully I'm going to learn more because, well, that looks nice, although I'm a bit reluctant to save some data in the cloud, especially for this app, which is going to have some personal information about the children and also prices and stuff like that. So that's why it is stored on the phone, and there's only a backup and restore option that is optional, and I will encourage my users to save their data and retrieve them as soon as possible and delete them from the cloud just to be on the safe side. So I'm not using Firebase as the main database for this app. You're getting an issue that contradicts the official docs. Is that on the React side or the Firebase side? Firebase has a pretty comprehensive documentation. I haven't found any problem with it yet. Varef firebase.database.ref dinosaurs refs order by. Yeah. That's a nice bit of code there. I wouldn't be able to help you with that as I'm not using. It says that Firebase.database.refx is not a function. Okay. I'm sorry, I can't help you. I don't have any React experience with that, so I don't know who made the React bindings to Firebase. So you should probably find that first and then ask those person. Right, where were we? We were trying to save our parameters. Now that we have fixed our typo, I should have cleared the logs, but that seems to be saved properly. Okay, so now if I go to this screen again, it's empty. And I would like that to not be the case. I would like that to be filled. Okay, so that's gonna be like a future builder. I'm gonna need a future builder in my settings form. And I'm gonna need to load those things. So here, we're gonna change that and we're gonna wrap that with a future builder. Okay, future builder doesn't have a child. Why? Because they have a builder and not a child, yes. So, builder uses a context, a snapshot, and that's probably all. And then we're gonna add the padding here. That surprisingly compiles. Okay. Nice. The future builder needs to wait on a future. That's the whole point of that. So the future will be, well, we're gonna call it future because why not? Final future. Oopsie. Future equals what? Equals settings dot load. Ooh, that's gonna be a little bit more complex because I need the database. Can I get the oh well, no, that's okay. I don't have to. Well, I can even simplify my save function, but let's do that. Okay, let's create the load function. Load is going to return a future settings. No, future void. It's just a future. It just need to notify but to resolved. And what are we gonna do here? We're gonna do with database util.get database. Then with the database, we're going to do some stuff, and we're going to we're just going to do that. It's it doesn't need anything, and it needs to return that, and we need to load. We need to load our stuff. bb.select get fetch. How do I retrieve my data? Query settings, and that's where using a single table for all the settings is useful. My dog is doing strange noises. She wants to go out. So I'm going to be right back. And since I don't have a be right back screen, I will bring you the free stream screen, and I will be right back in a minute or so. And I'm back. It's not even been a minute. Okay, so I'm going to query the settings thing, and that will return a list of map of string object. Whew. Then this is what a list of map of string objects. So that's the rows. Rows. Oh. Ah. No, that's not gonna be that easy. Right? That's not gonna be that easy. Because how do I match the row? I'm gonna have to do a horrible switch or a cascade of ifs. Rows.forEach, and that's a row. If row key equals that, then that equals row value double dot parse row value. What's wrong with that? The argument of type object cannot be assigned. Why is this a type object? It is, yes, it is a type object, but we know that this is actually going to be a string. And that's okay. What's wrong with that? Avoid using for each with a function literal. What? Avoid using for each with a function literal. So what should I use for each with? We're just gonna ignore that for the moment. And then I'm going to do that. And then that. And then that. And then that. And then that. Oopsie. Yes, okay. And I need one more. And then that. And I should be good. Convert for each to a for loop. Okay. Okay. If that's all that it takes, then okay. Right, so now this future is going to execute in the background, and when it's resolved, it should build this, and then we will need to set the value of initial value settings dot hourly week rate. That doesn't work because that's not a text. It's a double and it needs a string. So toString. There we go. Let's do the same for all the others. That's the hourly weekend rate. Okay, that will be the launch preschool. Okay, that here. Did I miss one? No. That here will be the lunch kindergarten. That will be the dinner preschool. Okay. And that will be dinner kindergarten. And that will be... Oopsie. The overnight thing. Okay. Let's see. Let's go there and let's go there. And it doesn't work. Fantastic. Fantastic. And it doesn't work. Wee. So let's have a little bit of debugging going on. So here we need to inspect the row. And clear that. And I'm also going to turn off my localizations warnings. No. Where is it? Yeah. Well, I can actually... Well, that should be enough. And I'm going to restart the app. Huh. So the values are stored in the database. So what is wrong? Okay, let's print this. Let's print this. Let's print this and also print the oopsie. Also print the value. Alright. Let's go to the outputs window. No, debugging window. Clean that and open the settings page again. Oh. That is weird. Oh no, the keys are here. So they're all 5.0s, the values. I don't understand what's going on. This is loading the settings. And this... Oh. Builder should not necessarily return that. It should... Yes, I think I understand what's going on. Now that's not gonna compile because I need another extra thing like that. Is it? No. It's always problematic to turn a thing like that into a convert block body. Oh, thank you, Visual Studio Code. But we only need to return the padding, well, the widget, if the snapshot actually has some data, which might be my problem. Print snapshot. Snapshot has data. And we should be seeing two calls, one with data and one without. Yes. So we have the false. We have false and we should have true. So, oh, it still says false. That's because it's... That's probably because this is a future of void. So what if I turn that into a future of bool? And then once I'm done with that, I return true. What's wrong? The body might complete. Ooh. Did I make that wrong? So return database, then db return db query settings, then rows, and way too many parentheses and curly braces there. And the class. So database, it's get database, then we get the database, then we query the settings, then we return the rows. Let's see. Let's see. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. I need to remove that. That's problematic. Clear. Settings. Alright, so. We got false, and we got false. We always get false. It doesn't have any value. What should I return? Then, if I can't return that, I'm confused. I arrive here and I load the settings. Loading the settings comes here, but that doesn't return anything. You know what? Let's return this. But if I do that, it means that this is a future of settings. And now that we have a future of settings, do we see true and false for the... Right, there we go, we have true. Okay, so now we can do... Now what we can do is return snapshot has the data, or more, to be more for that to be easier. If not snapshot as data, then return a single container with nothing in it, and else return a padding. And now it's working. And the reason why it was not working, I knew why it was not working, I just couldn't figure out how to make it work. So the thing is, when we first arrived in this builder function, the snapshot doesn't have data. So the future is not resolved yet, right? So it takes a little time for the future to resolve. But because we didn't wait for the snapshot to have its data, we were building the whole thing here. But that's a stateless widget, right? It doesn't need to be stateful because we have this builder here. But that's a stateless widget. So once it was created with all zeros, it didn't update itself, of course, because it's a stateless widget. So it's done once and then it sleeps until we do something. It will not update itself. So now we are waiting for the snapshot to have data. If the snapshot doesn't have data, we just create an empty widget. But when we come back, when the future resolves, now the snapshot has that data, and that is executed again. And the reason why it's now doing things, it's because it's not building the same widget. So the widget tree actually changes. And if it changes, then Flutter updates the screen. And so now we don't see it because it's a little bit too fast. But if we were to delay the resolution of the future, we would see an empty screen until everything is resolved. Actually, we can do that. We can say that the future, instead of being settings.load, we can have a look at what would happen if we had a delay by doing this. This is a future.delayed, and we're going to delay that by a duration of, I don't know, 5 seconds. And then we're going to call settings.load. What's wrong? So no, that's what's the name of this parameter? It's not a name. It's a future function. Yeah. What's wrong? Oh, it's not a parameter of duration. It is a parameter of delayed, and we can use a const here and remove that parenthesis here. And we should. There we go. Let's do that again just for fun. So I open the parameter window and then we wait for 5 seconds. And in 5 seconds, we will see the widget update itself. So that's what we would see if we had a very long lag. But obviously, we just have a few milliseconds or seconds. So let's do that. Okay. And now that's almost instantaneous. Okay. We have our settings. Can we change the settings? So like for example, that's let's say that's 7 francs, and that would be like 7. That would be like, I don't know, 8, 9, and that's gonna be 8, 9, and that's gonna be 20. Let's save that. I need a confirmation, like setting saved or something. And if we go here and we can go back here, and there we go. Let's add this confirmation right now. It's the same as the one we use for the database deletion. So it's on the settings page, and that's that. On Preston, it's a show dialog. I think it's this one. So if we go there and if we do that, we can show this dialog, context builder, context alert dialog, database successfully. So that is gonna be settings. Okay, and there's too many. Yes, and then we're going to do something like settings successfully updated. Okay. The confirmation dialog, you mean, Akdir? Should I make that a widget? Probably, but there's this function show dialog that's going to show the dialog. I could extract the alert dialog here. That's what I would do if I was a good programmer, I guess. But it's only a click away, you know. So let's see if it works first. Parameter settings successfully updated. Okay. So now if I go there and I click that and I click extract widget, and I think settings settings. Successfully updated dialog. And boom. There you go. Happy? Thank you, Visual Studio Code. And 16. Right, great. That works. Okay. That's done. That is done. So that moves over here. Okay, now when we compute the balance, we should use the settings. So where do we compute the balance? In the not in the model. Well, it's in the model eventually, but it's in the entries page. In the entries page, we load the model for this folder, and then we display that somewhere. Where is our consumer? And that's the pending billing total, and that is a getter. And that folds the total, that folds the entries. So I guess I will need to retrieve the settings at this point. And so to do that, I will need to create a new settings and load them. I don't need that anymore. So somewhere here, I will need to do var settings equals settings, and then settings.load. But settings.load, is that? It's a future, yes. Can a getter be asynchronous? No, it can't. Because it would have to return a future of something. That's gonna be a problem. That is gonna be a problem. How can I do that? Entries page. So that's a consumer because this widget is always there. And I can update the model and it gets updated. But, how am I gonna get the settings? Actually, the settings, maybe they should be loaded loaded once and then only updated when I fix the when I use the form. But I should probably load them and keep them around so I don't have to re-query them all the time. Let's see. The app itself is initialized like that. So we get the database. So that will initialize the database. Then I initialize the Flutterlib phone number. Then I initialize Firebase. Then with Firebase, if I am in debug, I connect to the simulator. But here I initialize the database, which means I could initialize the settings here. But then, settings model settings. I could probably go with var settings equals settings. Here. And do something like settings dot load. That's a load in a start module, right? Settings. Okay, settings is settings. Settings.load. Function must have an explicit list of parameters. Try adding a parameter list. Hello, Vovolu. Welcome to the stream. All that should be initialized in the main code before you even launch your Flutter app. Thank you for the follow, Zazai. I think it's how I pronounce that. If not, well, let me know. And we've reached the 60 followers goal. Thank you very much. I shall change that goal. Let's do that. What's the next goal that Twitch is going to propose to me? So let's see. Manage goal. We have that somewhere. Manage goals. I did, yes. So end goal and start new goal. No, I don't want a subs goal. I don't want a subs goal. End goal. I want a subscriber goal. Where do I change that goal type? I can't do that from here. I need to go to the admin interface. Let's see. Dashboard. I am in my dashboard. Where can I do that? Here. I can manage goals. Okay, and then here, and I want a follower goal. And validate, and there we go. Next goal is 70 followers. Yes, it should be initialized in the main. Yeah, that's true. That is entirely true, except for the fact that no, there's no except. That is true. I don't need the context anywhere. But yes, I do that for this future and the fact that I have a future builder somewhere. But that's a good call. I will have a look at that and try and move that in my main before I get there. Good call, thank you very much. Try and move that back to main. All right. So I have the database here. I could try and load and initialize the settings, but not here. But I can't have I can't call the. It's gonna like that. Okay. We can do that. And then because load doesn't need anything, it's just a future. No. It could still work. I need to go back here, and I actually don't care about this right now. Okay. Let's see if that still works, and if in my entries page, no, not entries, but entry model, I should be able to use the settings. Except I don't need to do that like that. Let's Let's inspect settings. And settings must be imported from wherever it is, and inspect should be imported. And settings refers to this, okay. Clear the output, and then we need a child. And then we need to add some stuff here. So let's say 3 hours and a dinner. Tack. And that didn't do anything. How awesome is that? Try again. There we go. Settings is not initialized. Settings is not initialized. That's really not what I was expecting. Settings is initialized this time. Let's try again. It didn't have time to initialize itself. So I should probably think about that. Think about that later. I can do that. I can do something like that, which is not the cleanest things, but it's gonna work for now. So this is just settings, and we won't load anything just yet. Okay, move on. Go away. I don't want you to stop in here. And now, if I go back to my block that I need to move to the main, which is actually in the app, I can do something like then. And now the return snapshot should be the last one. So let's do. Let's remove this breakpoint that is annoying. And let's do something like settings. Load. Yeah, because we know we just initialized the database, so everything is gonna be nice and fun and tidy. And now we can go back to our entry model, put the breakpoint back here, reload the app. The load call is a future. Your settings variable will be lazy initialized when it's first read. So the first time it's accessed in the build method, it won't be initialized. Yes, I realized that. Thank you. And now it should be initialized. It is. Look at that. Awesome. So now we need to use that. Okay, is it a weekday? So that's the hourly rate. So we're going to use the settings. Hourly week rate. Otherwise, we're going to use. Well, let's stop this app because it's getting annoying. And I got the low battery signal from my earbuds. So I'm going to switch to the good old wired headphones, which is less aesthetic but works all the time. And I will need to recharge my headsets at some point. Right, so now we need to use here the settings hourly weekend rate. Then we multiply that by the number of hours plus the number of minutes divided by 60. Did we have lunch? Then is this a preschool child? Then we need to use the settings lunch preschool. Otherwise we use the settings lunch kindergarten. Otherwise, which means they didn't have lunch, it's 0. Same here, but with the diner. dinner. I don't know how to pronounce that in English. The dinner preschool. And then settings, the dinner kindergarten. Okay. And then that's the settings, the overnight prices. It's still bugged though because you didn't await the... Yes, it's still buggy. I'm going to fix that when I move that back to main. And I should either await or do something. Yes. This one is async. It's so what you're saying is that I should await that or return that and then that. Why did I break? What did I break? That is broken. There we go. That's much better. With a cascade of futures. Now you are right to be pushy. You are right. And you do that in a polite manner, so it's always welcome. That's fixed now. And I'm going to move that in main later on. I need to move on. I need to have that working. So let's see. Let's see. Run. Application run. Okay, it's been an hour and 40 minutes. I think I'm gonna go another 20 minutes or so before I go and get some food because it's already 1 p.m. here and I'm getting hungry. Come on, oh, it is running. Okay, so if we go to our settings and we set everything to 1, just to have a clear view of what's going on. Okay, successfully updated, and so we go there. Remove the breakpoint and move on, and we've got so 3 hours and a dinner. So that's, why is that 30? 3 and 1. That should be 4. Okay. Okay. It's a weekend, but settings should be 1. Oh! Yes. Yes, because now we have a global variable, so we don't need in the settings forms, we don't need to define another one. In the settings forms, we have that needs to go away. And so that needs to go away. And now we go to our... I'm stopped on the breakpoint. And now we go to our settings again. Save. Our settings are 1s everywhere. Okay, so 4 because that's 3 and 1, and if I update that and say that just to check, it's now 6, 3, 2 meals and 1 night and 3 hours. That's 6. Okay, and so let's put that back to where it was. Week and weekends is 7 and 8. And meals are 5 and 7. 7, 8, and 5, 7. Well, I can have that here. Parameters, so 5 and 7 per hour on the weekend. Meals are 5 for preschool and 7 for kindergarten. 5 and 7 here, and the night is 20. Save that, okay, and go back to our stuff. 55, because we've got 20 for the night. And it's a kindergarten child, so 3 times 7, yes, 21, plus 40, that's plus 14, that's 35, and 20, that's 55. Ta-da! It is working. It is working. Now, I'm gonna have to have a chat with my main clients, because do I want to store in the database the prices with the entry? For example, if the price changes mid-month, well, I do need to store the price, right? Otherwise, if I change the price and I want to recompute the invoice, for some reason, I need to know what the price was at the time. Yes, I need to store the price with the entry. Yes, indeed, I need to do that. Okay. I'm gonna make a note of that. But so far, I have what I wanted to have. Do I have anything else I wanted to add to that? Where is my web browser? It's here. Did I have anything else? Let me check on my board. It's here. Project. Okay. Implement special package. Probably manual price on the entry form. Implement special package. Probably a manual price on the entry form. Right. So that would be... that would be here. Here I will want to add something to either or override the price and say, for example, that's, I don't know, 50 francs for everything. Or I also want something sorry that adds to that. For example, they had to buy something for the child. I don't know what that could be, but maybe they had to buy something, or they had to provide something for the child that is not included in the normal price. So I should be able to add some things here. Yes. Yes. So how can I do that? I'm gonna need one field for the price, for the replacement price. I should call that, and also add a list of stuff. I don't think it's gonna be that much. So yeah, so I'm going to add one text field and one one entry field where I can add the price. So yeah, two of those. One to replace the computed total. So instead of using hours, minutes, dinner, dinner, lunch, and night, that's gonna use the given price, and then another one that will add to that. Yes, with a description. Okay, so that's what I need to do, and I also need to have. Sorry. I'm going to do something here. There we go. I need to add a button on my Stream Deck for that. Yes, I need to add a menu here because what if I give a non-compact version that might not be easy to read? So I'm gonna add something here. A menu entry for the summary, which is basically going to be this form, but without the forms entry. Well, 10 minutes. 10 minutes left. I don't think I'm going to start anything just yet. So I'm going to end the stream here. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me on this stream today. Thank you, Zazai, Momesta, and Punichiro for the follows. Come back whenever you want. Don't forget to follow if you want to see the back catalog. I think it's still on Twitch. If it's not, it's going to be on my YouTube channel, which is going to be somewhere over my head in a few moments. When is the next live? Well, I don't know. Well, one will be next Thursday because I do one every Thursday. But also I just, go live whenever I have stuff to do and time to do it. So subscribe, follow, and you will get the notification. But you're already following, so you will have the notification. That's great. But at least Thursday. Yes, Thursday around 9:30. Well, in UTC that will be 7:30, 8 p.m. UTC, unless when are we switching clocks? I think it's at the end of this month. So next week we should still be in summertime. So around 7:30, something like that, 7:30 p.m. UTC. And we will probably do more Flutter because I like Flutter. I've been learning Flutter for a few weeks now, maybe a month or two, which is why I still do some rookie mistakes, and I'm trying to get better by watching other streamers do some Flutter. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you, everyone. Let's see, do we have someone we can raid? Let's have a look at that. Where is my web browser? Do I have someone I know live on Twitch? I need to go back to my channel and see if I... well, the only one I know is Rockstar. That is live now. Do we have someone else? If I do Flutter, if I search for Flutter on Twitch, do I see someone? Not really. So let's have a look at the software and game development. Who do we have live now? Do you guys want to go to a French channel? See someone in French? There's someone doing some Angular Node.js MongoDB. So I know there's at least... there was at least 2 French-speaking people in the channel earlier. Yes, let's do that. Let's go raid this person here. So I'm going to get their handle here. And let's start a raid. There we go. We're going to raid them. Thank you very much. See you next time and have a good raid.